Hey, what's going on? Welcome to 15 Minutes with Dad, your go-to destination for all things fatherhood. I'm your host, Lyric Williams, here to guide you through our incredible lineup. I want you to know that this is a platform for the family, and let me tell you why. We have a father-daughter podcast, we have a heartfelt healing series, an engaging fatherhood speaks panel, and our newest edition, Dad's Lighthouse, where we shine a light on mental health, family development, and mindset empowerment, and that part is premiering on May 3rd, my birthday. If you are on a quest to transform your fatherhood journey, dive into my new book, Man Up From Our Trauma to Being Impactful Fathers. It's packed with insights and stories to inspire and empower you. But that's not all. Make sure you join our vibrant Discord community and connect with fellow dads on a deeper level. Make sure you join our newsletter at 15minuteswithdad.com. You will be able to find our book on amazon.com as well as at 15minuteswithdad.com/man up. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube to watch our video podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at 15 Minutes with Dad. I hope you're ready to dive into today's episode. Again, thank you for joining me. Welcome to 15 Minutes with Dad. My name is Lyric, and you are tuning in to another episode of 15 Minutes with Dad. We are here with Alex for an episode of the Healing Series. All right, welcome back. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Healing Series, a part of 15 Minutes with Dad. We are here with Alex. Alex, how are you?
I'm doing great today.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Alex has taken on the challenge to join me in a conversation about his fatherhood, his relationship with his father, and all the good things that come in between that and how they impact and interrelate with each other. Are you ready to dive in?
I'm ready. All
right, so let's hear about who are you, Mr. Alex?
Who am I? That's a really strong question.
Yeah.
My name is Alex. I am a devoted husband, father. I've been with my wife for 7 years now, and we have two beautiful kids. My son, who's 7, and my daughter, who's a year and a half.
Ah, that's beautiful.
And I'm a follower of God, and I'd like to think that I'm a good person and I'm an intentional person, or at least I'm trying to be. So,
yeah. It's a challenge. It's a work in progress, not a challenge. It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. So of all those things, and I'm a lover of people. So
yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And one thing, I love that even though you have, we've talked a little bit about your history with your father, the way that you love on your kids and the way that you are impactful to your kids. How are they, or is it different from when you were fathered versus how you father, or was it the same, just for our viewers to kind of get a concept of it?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Something about when you're a kid and you go through, whatever you go through as a child, for some reason, sometimes that inspires people to want to become parents themselves so that they can enact whatever life they didn't get. And in a sense, that's what parenthood has been like for me. But I will say there are pitfalls where I can kind of, I see things happening and I'm like, where did that come from? And so then it kind of brings me pause. So there's those moments. But overall, I think what parenting, or my style of parenting, or what I try to do with my kids, is try to take out the bad parts of it and add all the good that I can.
Yeah. So to kind of dive into that, to kind of unpack that a little bit, you're saying that throughout your parenting journey, you've had realizations of like, hey, this isn't right. Like this, like maybe a conversation may happen, maybe event happened, maybe they did something that would warrant the thing that, or warrant a piece of trauma that you've experienced. Like at this moment when this happened, or let's say
when they dropped or they broke a vase or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You wanted to react according to how you were traumatized when you were a kid, and you had to stop and like rethink that and be a little more forthcoming on or how you implement your fathering at that moment was challenged and was like, yo, I'm not going to give them what I experienced because it don't really equate to this situation, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
My son is very sensitive, as I was. I was a very sensitive kid. Um, and honestly, my wife and I, we actually struggled to have children the first 4 years of marriage, and we were very involved in the life of who at that time was my cousin. Um, and one day, that person's mother asked us to adopt him, and we both were already in love with him and loved having him over, and so we went through that process of going through the adoption classes and a whole thing, and that's how I got my first son was through adoption. And I'm thinking, bet he's a boy, he's kind, he's cute, he's all these things. It's in the bag. I got
Right.
it from here.
Right.
And then like you find these different aspects of him that remind you of himself. And I found myself one day saying, "Why are you crying, man up?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "What did I just say?"
Wow. Yeah.
Because what does that even mean? First
Right.
off,
As to a kid.
to a kid, he was probably 4 or 5 at the time.
Wow. Yeah. That.
Um,
How many times have you ever heard that in your life?
oh
Can
man,
you count?
like, I'm saying like manhood specifically, it means a lot to me because when I was a kid, I just never thought that I would ever have anything close to that. I'm like, oh, I've just accepted it. I'm not a man. I'm not going to be one. I'm so different from all the other boys I know from and all that stuff. So I just kind of phoned it in and said, well, like, I guess that's just not me.
Right.
Um,
Let's take it back to let's set the stage of what your childhood was like.
okay.
Right. Can you set the stage and tell us environment wise or the people that are in your life, how they impact you, or any particular strong influences that you can remember that influenced your childhood? Can you set that stage for us?
Absolutely. Raised single mom. Um, over in totality, though, I'd like to say I was also raised by a village of women. My aunts, my grandmother, all had very strong, impactful roles in my life. Um, and they were so comforting and warm. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but like our family just didn't fight. Like
Right.
there wasn't conflicts at, the holidays or anything like that. Um, so it was fantastic in that aspect.
Right.
Very warm, very nurturing environment. Um, there was, however, just on my other side, someone that I didn't exactly have a relationship with, but my mom would try to encourage it
Mm.
because, you're a boy, you should have a
Right.
relationship with your dad.
Yeah.
And so from her side, I think she was trying to encourage it. She knew how I felt about him, how things would just never work and how tumultuous it would be.
And
Um,
tumultuous how? Like, what are some encounters that you can recall
he's
with your father?
verbally, physically, and emotionally abusive man. Um, walking on eggshells whenever I'm there,
Mm.
but he's a man,
Right.
and I have to listen to myself. I want to be like this person. I want this person's validation more than anything like that.
That
Um,
validation part, because your boy, he's the closest to it. Like he's
mhm.
literally the verbatim the man that you would ideally
Yeah.
become because he is.
I want to like the
You
things that he
comfort him.
likes, the music he listens to, the
Right.
teams he follows, the everything. He was big in sports, and he wanted me. He wanted to live vicariously through me in sports. I just was not athletic,
Right.
but he was a high school star back in
Right.
his day before he got injured.
Right.
His sons are going to be the same,
Right.
but I was slow. I didn't like. I wasn't tough. I didn't want to play football. I didn't want to get hit. I didn't want to hit
Right.
people.
Right.
I was the polar opposite, and to the point where he did a DNA test. He's like, "You can't be my son."
Hey, what's going on to all my dads out there? A quick pause on our fantastic journey today to share something special with you. If you've been enjoying the insight, stories, and dad wisdom we dive into every episode, then you're going to love this. I've poured my heart, soul, and a whole lot of dad experience into my book, Man Up, From Our Trauma to Being Impactful Fathers. It's not just a book. It's a self-help guide. It's a companion for every dad out there looking to strengthen their bond with their kids, navigate the challenges of trauma, fatherhood, and discover new ways to find joy in the most ordinary moments. Inside, you will find stories, anecdotes about my life, practical advice, and those light bulb moments that you'll have to say, aha, so I'm not the only one. Whether you're a new dad, feeling a bit overwhelmed, or seasoned pro looking for fresh perspectives, Man Up, From Our Trauma to Being Impactful Fathers is your go-to guide for all things fatherhood. And because you are a valued listener of 15 Minutes with Dad, I've got a special offer just for you. Head over to 15minuteswithdad.com/manup and use the promo code DAD15 at checkout for an exclusive listener discount. But wait, it gets even better. When you grab your copy today, you'll also get access to a special bonus chapter that's not available anywhere else. It's my way of saying thank you for being a part of our Dadtastic community. All right, let's dive back into our episode.
And
That has to be probably a flooring moment,
Yeah.
to a child to interact with a man that is said to be your dad, and he has to try and prove that to himself to even accept you as his son.
had me questioning it, and I don't tell your mom. Don't tell your mom. This is between us.
Wow.
I'm
And then he
gonna
did.
swat-
Did you ever tell her? Have you ever told her?
I never told her,
Oh,
which
man.
is a whole other. Unfortunately, with when you have a family that sugarcoats things,
On the dad's side or the mom's side?
mom's side,
Mom's side. Okay.
as nurturing and loving as they were, and I love all of it.
But they
We
don't.
were also
They don't expose the real.
we were a sugarcoat family. The things that happen in the family are talked amongst the adults only. I don't know anything.
Wow.
So I just say that to say, and being a single mom, I would see how hard she had to work to do things and give me things. I didn't want to become an obstacle. I don't know at what point in my life I had made that decision, or just that back of my mind kind of
Right.
thought.
Usually happens somewhere around 12 or 13 when you start really like, who am I in the world?
Yeah,
Right.
it likely was. I think I just routinely would keep things from her that I thought would stress her out or bring her sadness, and I didn't
Wow.
want to be the one to do that.
So, and this is something I'm working through as well, right? And they call it people pleasing. Would you say that it's the same for you?
My name is Alex, and I'm a people pleaser. I'm a recovering
people pleaser, man. Yeah, that's been my journey, and
so strong.
and because I was raised by women as well, and I don't know if this is true, but I'm going to say this, and y'all can challenge if you want, but men raised by single mothers tend to become like this more often than if they had both in their life, right? Because single motherhood is hard. Single parenting is hard, and the child sees that and wants to be like, hey, let me not make it harder on you because you have to feed me already. You have to clothe me. And then, and you're the same age as I am. So I'm assuming that in that time frame, like they would tell you how hard it is to take care of you. They would make it known, like, you know, you making it hard on me to love you kind of thing. And so in order to like validate or to even to receive love, you don't want to disrupt the love that you're getting by saying something that's going to disrupt them or disrupt their heart or disrupt their mind or their thoughts, because that can mean that you could actually lose that love at the end of the day. Like I would say that it's the same for single parenting, kids who are raised up, mostly men raised up by single. I'm just talking about men because I this is what this podcast is about, fatherhood, right? So men raised by single mothers tend to have that that people pleasing thing
Yeah,
intertwined in our DNA.
very much so. And I got rewarded for the most part with my mom, but with my dad, that people pleasing tendency, it's like you're always sending out that signal, and it's coming back void each time.
And
Whether
that
it's
is,
what you do in playing a sport, whether it's how you talk, how you think, what your activities, your hobbies. Why are you listening to that? What you're not
wow.
supposed to listen to that. You're not a girl. You're
That's
not like
this.
it's
That's gay. That's this. Like all the different
everything.
words that are used to signify or demonize lower than toxic masculinity kind of thing. Which is
Yeah.
probably why we both was like, yeah, I don't dig that toxic masculinity stuff because I didn't grow up with my dad. I didn't get influenced by dad, but I was influenced by very terrible men all my life
Mm.
from the terrible choices that the women in my life decided to be with. You know, and so I still have that. I've dealt with that. You know, my grandfather, you know, he rest his soul. He just passed away last year, but we've mended our relationship. But I fought with him every step of my life, because he told me like this isn't you. A man don't do this because I dance as well. Like a man don't dance. A man ain't artistic. Like I play sports too. Like don't get me wrong. Like when I say I did, and I think I still do so much for validation. Like I can do. You see the studio. You see everything that I
Swiss
do,
Army knife. Jack
and
of all
it's
trades.
all because I just wanted to be loved and validated, and here I am.
But that's special though. You at least got a chance to kind of mend something before.
Yeah, he had me crying, man. He came to me, and I talk about this in in one of my healing episodes. But like, it was on Mother's Day, and I went to my mom's house that night, later on that evening, and he was drunk. He called me over, he pulled my little grown behind and sat me on his lap, and was like, "Hey, boy, come here," you know. And then he was like, I just want to say that I'm sorry for. He was like, I know you don't fuck with me. I know you don't fuck with me. And he was like, no. I was like, nah, Grandpa, you good? I literally don't mess with him more than 45 minutes. 45 minutes is my cutoff. It's always been.
Okay.
And then he was like, but I'm sorry for how I treated you. I didn't know any other way to be to you because that's how my dad was with me, and that's how his dad was with him. And I just want you to know that I'm so proud of you. He said that like you were more of a man than I will ever be. And
Oh my God,
man, he floored me. I was
Man.
crying for the next hour on my way home, sobbing like because I never knew that he was that voice in the back of my head that made me push so hard to say like, yo, I am a man at everything that I did. Everything that I did. Even when I danced, I got a minor in dance, and I was always trying to see like, hey, how can I do ballet and still be classified as a man? Like I still want to maintain my manliness in this jazz and in this ballet and all that good stuff. And yeah, man. So yeah, floored.
So
that
much
statement.
effort. I take off the week of work. I that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That's amazing.
and not
I'm
everybody
happy you
get
had
that.
Yeah.
You know, that opportunity. But
Yeah, completely. And who knows if it's ever in the cards for me? But unfortunately, with us, it was something. There's this big event where I didn't do something right, and then there's separation for a number of years.
was it by punishment? Was it his punishment for you, or was it you just like, hey, I'm gonna separate for a little bit to kind of?
I think it was I took it as punishment at the time. I think now maybe, but I mean, a few years is kind of exaggerated by for a kid, but I think he was also
still.
yeah, I'm a kid
Yeah.
still. I mean, from childhood to 2 years ago,
Okay.
it's this pattern of something blows up because something you didn't like. You yell at me, you say all these things that you should never say to a person. Then there's a extended period where we don't ever talk to each other. Then he sends me like an invitation to a birthday party or hey, we're
Nothing
gonna
ever happened.
like nothing ever happened, and of course
Oh man, yeah.
and he reels me in each and every time.
that real
I'm
back.
over. I'll be there, and then we start this again where I'm people pleasing. I don't feel comfortable. Something ain't right, but
Your needs aren't being met, but you're just still there because you're like,
trying.
maybe I can take it because at the end of this, all this craziness is going to be his love and his validation.
I'm your father, and I love you, and that was enough for me apparently.
Right.
And honestly, just throughout my life was that break up, years, come back together, break up, years, come back together. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so there's different chapters, and it wasn't until my mother passed away in 2020. At I guess would be the height of COVID, but
Yeah.
I found her, and it was one of those life shaking. Never would want my worst nightmare came true,
Mm.
and
And when you say you found her.
yeah, I found her. I reached out to her one night, and I noticed she didn't text me back when I woke up, and I was like, my mom never texts me back. So I tried to call her, and I didn't get an answer, and it didn't feel right. So I drive over there, and um, no one's answering the phone, and I open the door, and she's right there.
Man. So were you a caretaker for your mom growing up? Much?
No, honestly, she was the caretaker of me. Even through adulthood, she was a woman of organization. And her work life was organized, her home life was organized. She had everything taken care of, and I would say sheltered me in a way, but I think she also saw that there was a need there. And so anyway, I just at that time, and for whatever reason, the first person I called was my dad. I don't even know why. We weren't even talking at the time. But I wanted to call him and I wanted to let him know.
How did he respond?
Oh man, how'd she die?
Whoa.
I don't know, Dad. I don't know. Oh, well, um, oh wow, that's crazy. Well, let me know if you need anything. Hear that sick. All right, well, thanks. And he asked me some question that is just otherwise weird to ask you at the time. I just got off the phone with him, but
man,
he would then, throughout that year and years afterwards, if he was upset with me, he would throw some kind of insult that was related to the passing of my mom. Like, for an example, and these aren't even good reasons to be upset with people. He wanted the PS5 had just coming out, and it was at that time. I don't know if are you a gamer?
Yeah, I'm a heavy gamer.
Okay,
well, I wouldn't
so
say heavy. I'm medium gamer. I don't have time
like when it first came out, like you couldn't just go to a store and get it.
It was
right.
it was.
You had to
rare.
find the location. So there was a Walmart near Canal Winchester, and he texted me. He's like, "Do you mind going up there? It's closer to you. See if we got." I was like, "Hey, I'm in the middle of something right now. Can't do it." And he says, "I knew you was going to say that. I hope you and your wife's family are close because you have no family over here anymore." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm reading it, and this is a text, and I'm just like, because I can't make it to Walmart right away.
Bro, what?
Like, but it would be stuff like that, and I'm an adult at that point, but that would be the level of what would tick him off as a kid.
That is extremely
for no reason.
hurtful.
For no reason.
I'm hurting right now for you, just imagining someone telling me that after experiencing.
It was in that.
I'm sorry.
And at that point, and that was my first interaction with counseling.
Oh man, yeah.
Because with my mom passing and that happening, I eventually sought out counseling, and I found out that I wasn't making I wasn't being authentic with my relationships, whether it was with my wife, whether it was my mom, my family,
friends.
I was piss poor with boundaries, like all of these things. It would kind of start to line up, and obviously that brings in my dad and how I've just gone after him all of my life, trying to follow suit and acquiesce to everything that he would try to, you know what I mean? So
I understand.
So
I understand what you went through is hella intense, but it's all aligned with how we people pleasing, how we build relationships throughout our life. Like, I'm barely learning boundaries, right? And I'm barely learning that. And I talk about this in my last episode. I was like, all of my friendships I am devoted to, but when my counselor told me this, and it floored me, had me thinking for about a week. He said, "You don't let your you don't let people that are close to you that you call friends and family, you don't let them be there for you. Like you're always 100% there for them, but you never allow them a chance to be there for you. I don't depend on anybody. I'm like, yo, I do this myself. As you can see, everything that I got going, it all is full circle. But I wholeheartedly understand the it's to be safe, right?
Yeah.
It's almost to be safe and being your authentic self and being like, yo, I'm not okay with that. I can't mess with you anymore. Because I usually just ghost people. I usually like, that's not what I'm doing, but I'm not gonna tell you. You just not gonna hear from me anymore. You're not gonna know why you hear from me. You're gonna come to me like everything's fine because you think that everything's fine, but I never told you that it wasn't. And then when you come back, I'm like, okay, that's an apology. You know, that kind of. Oh, maybe they realize it, but I never actually voiced it, and my needs never get met.
Mm.
And that's something I'm focusing on now. Is like, what are my needs? Did I voice my needs? And am I being authentic, like you say?
Yeah.
Man, that is powerful stuff.
And I struggle to this day voicing my needs. Because I also still carry this narrative in my head, like I don't want to complain about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I that resonates with me.
I'm tying that to your childhood.
I'm working on that still.
Like when you say that you don't want to complain, you know?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
With you didn't want to complain to your mom. You wanted to be like,
Yeah.
It's almost like you didn't want to be you didn't want to be present at all because your presence causes strain. And so, in every situation in life, the presence, like being present, you feel like it's not valuable. Like I need to not my presence being there, or me voicing, or me being loud, or me being actually having an issue with something would mean that I'm causing disruption to the world that exists without me in it. Completely. And I'm not actually supposed to, like, it's a weird kind of like dissociation with,
yes.
I don't know if it's disassociation or dissociation. It's one of those.
Dissociation.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like that, like, yo, I don't want to be, like, me being here is a disruption to the world that is happening without me in it, which is the non-ideal way for us to be, because we are human.
Yeah.
You know, we are people, and our presence, our needs, our goals, our life is all valuable and such. And that made it easy for me, that same thought process made it easy for me to slip into depression and to slip into suicidal ideations. And this was as an adult, right? And when I started going back and doing work, I realized that I was going through that stuff. I was depressed all my life, from childhood all the way to adulthood, because I've never, fathers wasn't there to kind of help us bring an identity to be. Two, our presence, like we didn't feel like a human being in the world. Like we're just like, yeah, I guess I'm just alive, but I'm not like in society. I'm not a contributor of society. These people are weird, like humans are crazy, and we're probably observing more than we are living, kind of thing. And I think I still do that. Like I still just observe people more than I do just live in it. Like if I see a bunch of people, I'm like, I'm gonna stand on the outside. I don't like crowds. It's the same. It's like
same thing.
Yeah, man.
Man, I'm all that. And so, I mean, so then it makes sense, the low self-esteem, especially at that age that I had, I felt like I wasn't, something's off with me. Something's wrong with me. I don't belong here. Like when you watch a movie or a show, and all my references are movies or shows.
Yeah.
When they have like a conversation and they say something witty or something, and then the car ride to Manhattan lasts for the next 3 hours. And you're like, I always thought to myself, like, what the hell did they talk about for 3 hours?
Right.
Because, like, from what I'm looking at, this was just a great conversation. This person said this person said this, and it was just a great car ride on the way there.
Right.
But I'm stuck there, like, what do they fill that time in? Because I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to talk about or anything like that.
Right.
Anyway, so I never felt right, and so I was phrasing it to someone the other day. I often felt like a broken chameleon, that you try whatever environment you're in, whatever crowd you're in, you try,
To blend
to
in.
blend in. You try to take on. When we were in middle school, it was Jeezy, and it was the you can't ban the snowman. I wanted to wear the snowman thing, wear the Devereaux and the aesthetic that the other kids have. I just didn't know how to do it.
Mm,
All my friends
yeah.
were white and were playing Tony Hawk. I didn't know how to be
Right.
in this setting and vice versa.
Mm,
I felt like, but I tried my damnedest to fit in wherever I was, but I was this broken chameleon that just, and so then my self-esteem never really got resolved. It just built upon each other, and
yeah.
every time I interacted with this man, he was just a reminder of what I wasn't.
God, that part, like he's holding the sense of identity,
Mm,
and he kept it. It's like he kept it like a carrot in front of your face. You're never going to be
mm,
who I want you to be or who I think
yep,
you to be, which is always like a goal of identity for you and an identity for us, like for myself, like and so for me it was my grandmother who raised
mm,
me that I could never please, right?
yeah,
Like no matter what I did, it was a problem at the end of the day. But then sometimes she'd be like, "You're great, I love you, you're such an amazing son." But what if I did one little tiny thing? It would be
out the
I'm the
window.
worst person in the
Yeah.
world. Man, that's I think, and so let's take it on how it impacts you right before you um, met your wife and like all of that stuff. Because I'm assuming that there was a time where you started working on yourself, maybe after you met your wife, maybe before you met your wife. And what time was that? Did that kind of come between your healing versus? Um,
Yeah, unfortunately, the work came probably in year 5 of marriage, and at that point,
mm,
you've invested this.
established.
You're established. You can't really hide nothing anymore. It's
Mm,
all out in the open, and the worst parts of you are on display 24/7.
yeah.
So, and I didn't know at that time that I was kind of creating this inauthentic. I apologize to my wife. I'm like, for 5 years, I don't know if I've really truly been honest with you with a lot of things. It's become so common for me to build up a narrative or make promises that I know I can't keep
Man.
because it
Wow.
sounds like something I should say.
Wow.
I,
Yeah.
I'm I'm gonna go out the guys. I'll be back in an hour. That
Right.
sounds great,
Right.
but you know dang well it's not gonna be an hour.
Right.
Just stuff like that, and then making the same promises to the group of friends. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be out all night. Well,
To
which
to
one is it going to be?
yeah.
Which one are you going to appease
Golly.
that night? And it takes a lot of effort to try to blend into whatever whoever you're trying to please at that moment. But yeah, so unfortunately, it was about year 5 of marriage, and I don't mean to be all over the place.
No, no.
I think another, and I don't know about you, but I mean, especially as men, sex is a big part of our growing up. Like not just
Rite of passage,
yeah,
especially in that
the
time, that
yeah,
era that we
it's
grew
in
up
the
in.
media we consume.
Yeah.
It's the conversation amongst our peers at the time.
Yeah.
If you don't do something by a certain age, it's a problem.
Right.
Stuff like that. And I was just particularly um, impacted by that for different reasons. Whether it's my dad forcing me to watch porn at like 7, 8,
Dang.
because he's got to get me to become a man.
Oh
Because
man.
I'm clearly not showing him the football field. Which,
Right.
all right.
You ain't gonna be
Um,
gay at my house.
hey, we would drive around the town, and he would somehow know these women of the street that would he would say, "Hey, I'm going to give this money to show yourself," and then he would drive off, before paying, and he would love it. He would just get a rise out of it. He'd be like, "That's what it's like." And I thought, man, that was ruthless. That was all this stuff,
Wait,
but
so he paid women to show themselves to you?
yeah, yeah. Um, hey, you want to see some titties? Let's get in a car. I'm like, okay. And again, I'm just a kid, and I can't tell mom any of this.
Right.
I can't tell. And
It'll hurt her.
It'll hurt her. But this all kind of met this peak when I myself was molested as a kid outside of that realm, but like these things kind of compound on top of each other of confusion
Mm.
and just furthering this. I don't know what's right, what's wrong, and I feel like I'm hiding so much. And again, I'm not saying anything to anybody. I've never told my mom, even as an adult, that I was molested as a
Right.
kid.
Right.
I've never said these things, and I never told her that I wanted to kill myself in high school. I never said any of that, and it just there's just a lot of traits that are toxic that we buy into. That and I so I say all that to say I have a son now who is so what's the word where they're like sponges. What am I trying to say?
Absorbent, like they.
Yeah, he my gosh, if he's at public school and other kids are cussing, he's Samuel L. Jackson. He's in a Christian school now, so he's John the Baptist. There's no in between. Whatever he is around, he is
He is
absorbing it.
I think the word impressionable.
Impressionable, yes, that's
Yeah.
what he's very, very impressionable, and he's very curious,
Mm.
and he gets confused easy too, and it makes me think of myself so much. And I think that's also why sometimes I get frustrated because it's like I don't want you to go through these loopholes. I would like to put a board down that you can just walk on top of.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
Right.
But at the same time, as you know, sometimes like as a parent, you can only it's their individual life.
Right.
You can't live that life for them. You can
Right.
try your best to
Right.
prevent them from going down a journey, but sometimes there's a journey to be had.
And I talked to my daughter about this. There's two roads, right? She knows what her road she needs to take at any given time. There's the either you listen to what I've told you road, or
Yep.
you're going to experience it, and then you have to navigate it. And I give her the room to experience it because I know she's going to go through it. She's going to be curious about stuff, and she's going to like try things. And I have to be mindful that there's just that natural curiosity of kids to be like, what makes me human? And do I need to do this to make me feel human? And kind of just be ready for that conversation. I know that I've told her, like, when it comes to life changing things, please don't just try to like, you already know it'll be life changing if you try it. Don't try it. Just like talk to me about it. I can most likely give, like, we're close in age. 'Cause I have my daughter young, so I can have I can have an in depth conversation with you on about any said thing. So like, let's not make those life changing decisions as like, let's not take those lessons by experience. Let's take them by
Man.
the words. And it's
Please.
hard. It's hard to do because, you know, especially you have a 7-year-old, like you say 7, right? So he's like 7-year-olds are funny. Like they know everything, but know absolutely nothing. And it only gets worse from there. They will literally know everything, and when they start arguing with you everything, like that's the teenage years, they will know, by golly, wow, there's nothing that you can say to change their mind. And then they become 14, 15, and then they were like, all right, I understand a little bit what you're talking about. But still argue. So I just want to have my own thoughts. So
I'm gonna have to reach back out to you at
most definitely,
at that
man. Most definitely. It's a journey and it changes. And one thing that I would say and this is not me telling you the parent, but over the years, what I've learned in this journey through each stage is that it's hard for us as parents to try and parent or father from who the kids are, right? Like we have to be mindful that they've built their own conscience over time and they have their own way of processing the environment. We have to be able to decipher whether we're parenting from our trauma or we're parenting from who they are. And kind of like, and it's always going to be a juggle. We're not always going to get it right, but we have to try to get it right most of the time if we can.
Yeah.
You know, and especially when we're coming from traumatic experiences, it's easy for us to rely on how we protected ourselves in times of trauma. And we want to give them that tool to protect themselves, but we have to also be mindful that the environment may not be the same. There may be some things that could potentially be the same, but then we have this underlining experiences that led to that moment that they may not have. They may just run into somebody that's smoking weed and they get to decide where. But for us, we may have been forced to do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By somebody that has power in our life. So
Yeah.
we have a different underlining experience, and we just have to be mindful of how we juggle that. And that's you do that well, you'll be great. You'll be great. You'll be the best dad ever all the time. I mean, well, most of the time. My daughter gets upset with me like every week. It's a normal. So just expect it. But yeah, I'm a plus dad to a toddler and a 9-year-old, which they're so adorable, very, very genuine, beautiful kids. And then I have a 7-month-old. So I'm starting all the way over.
So you haven't slept in 2 weeks, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Let's say like 6 to 7 months.
6 to 7 months.
It's been a journey. 7 months straight. I sleep like 4 hours now.
Man, I was just there. I feel you.
Yeah, they got sick. My baby started going to daycare. The toddler they just transferring germs, getting me sick. It's a whole thing, man.
Oh my gosh.
But man, I want to say that I appreciate you. I genuinely appreciate you coming on and having this conversation and having this talk. Is there anything in your soul that you want to say to the viewers, you want to say to myself, that you want to leave us with, something that is like a mantra or something that's on your heart?
Yeah, I just I went in positivity because I didn't see positive images of men or fathers growing up. But I'm surrounded by them now. My friends, my coworkers, my brother-in-law, my podcast mate.
Yeah.
No, there's just so many great examples now where I can see and I'm inspired by I have this true image to look up to and be inspired by and be empowered by. And I think this platform and everything that you do around it, just because it's great to see, it's great to have that image to really live by. So, man, I heard this thing the other day that I wanted to say, and now I'm starting to lose it. But it's something around the realm of there's millions, billions of nice people in this world, and if you haven't met one yet, become that nice person. And same to my fathers out there. If you've gone through something incredibly impactful that maybe you're still struggling with, something that's still unresolved, I'm here with you. Be that change, be that voice, be that promising spirit to somebody.
Yeah.
And thank you, brother, for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Thank you
Appreciate
for coming on and pouring out your heart in this, and because it's not easy with these lights and cameras. It's not easy because people are watching. So I understand. I really appreciate you being courageous. And reaching out and like saying, yeah, I want to do this thing. And I want to kind of talk about real quick before we leave that. This platform is expanding, right? So my goal is to build a community of fathers. I'm going to be shooting episodes or weekly episodes that people can call in on, and have conversations with me about. I don't call myself a guru of parenthood, but I have been at every stage of it. I've been homeless as a dad. I've gone through understanding where I was understanding I was traumatized, working through myself, and at the same time being a dad. So from 18 all the way to about 30, 34, 35, I'm still learning how to be a better father. But I think that I've gone through a huge spectrum, baby mama drama, the whole 9 yards, that I feel that I can talk to. So I'm going to be expanding this platform to do those weekly calls. Y'all going to hit more information about this. There's a book that I just wrote called Man Up that all the things we just talked about today. Literally, your life is a mirror to that book. Almost verbatim except for like a little deeper stuff. There was a lot of drug abuse and alcoholism in my family, but verbatim, just to how we process, even just talking to you today, we realized we somehow sat into that. We ended up in that same spectrum based on the trauma that we've experienced at the hands of our parenting. I wasn't influenced by my dad. I was influenced by my grandmother and lack of a father. And it still ended up in that way. So I say that to say, like, this book Man Up From Our Trauma to Being Impactful Fathers. It's a self-help guide, right? And I'm going to leave you with that book, and
Awesome.
and you will be able to take it home, and you could tell me what you think about it. We're going to be doing some workshops on it. So I'm inviting brothers to kind of pull together some workshops and kind of like actually talk through this book and go through chapters of this book and see, just
Beautiful.
how it really works with us. And man, I'm trying to do a lot of things. Black Father Daughter Dance. You're going to be there with me, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Black Father Daughter Dance this Saturday. It's going to be live. We're doing a live podcast, man. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to put this episode out sometime this week before that event takes place.
Man, busy.
I'm going to turn it around. So if you have not, make sure that you go and like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram at 15 Minutes with Dad. You want to drop your tag? You want some followers off of this?
Hey, you can follow me on Instagram, #JCove. Other than that, don't follow me.
You have a Twitch or something? Do you game? Do you stream?
I don't game. I want to be into the streaming thing. I'm just so inconsistent with being on it.
Yeah, man. It'll come. I think it'll come with healing. As your healing goes, you'll be like, yo, I don't care what people say, because I'll talk to you about that after we got this podcast. But I say that to say, make sure that y'all tune in. Make sure that y'all tune into the live. Make sure that y'all like, follow, and subscribe. Make sure you share this video, share this podcast with whoever that you feel can benefit it. Share it with the father in your life. Share it with the man in your life, a new father, a past father, and a strange dad. You can listen to us on all streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify Music. I can name all of them. Deezer, Tidal, we're on all of them. Make sure that you go and find us, and you make sure that you give us some kind of comment. Make sure that you just engage with us. Ask us questions. I love it, and it makes us feel amazing. Thank you all for tuning in to 15 Minutes with Dad. Love, peace, and chicken grease, y'all. Y'all take care.
See ya.
And just like that, we've hit an end of another epic journey here at 15 Minutes with Dad. I'm your host, Lyric, and I am thrilled to have shared this time with you. But guess what? The conversation is far from over. Want to dive deeper into the Dadverse? Check out our website at 15minuteswithdad.com and join our vibrant community on Instagram, Discord, and TikTok for your daily dose of dad inspiration, camaraderie. And here's something special. Subscribe to our newsletter at 15minuteswithdad.com for exclusive goodies and behind-the-scenes peeks you won't find anywhere else. Got a burning question or a dad moment that made you proud? We're all ears. Submit your questions and share those special moments with us for a chance to be featured and shout out on our show. It's your time to shine in our dad community, so tap in with our Discord, and our server is at 15 Minutes with Dad. So tap in for that. Engage with the community, and you will be featured on our show. Each week we will do another feature, so join in. Love today's episode. Spread the love by sharing it with a friend and leaving us a review. Let's get the word out and grow our awesome dad family, because guess what? When you give us a review and you rate our podcast, you give everybody the chance to enjoy what you've enjoyed about this podcast as well. So mark your calendars, because new episodes drop every Thursday of the week. Ready for more heartwarming stories, laughs, and dad wisdom? We can't wait to have you back. But until next time, keep being the amazing dad you are. Every day is a new adventure, and every moment is special. Catch you on the next episode. Love, peace, and chicken grease.